Hey, it's Allison Steinberg, your host, and I'm here just to welcome you to Estheticians in Business, the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to Estheticians in Business, the podcast. So grateful you're here because we are going to be talking about policies. Now, if you already have policies set up in your business, definitely still listen to this podcast because as solo estheticians, I think sometimes we forget or even just need a reminder on what policies you should have. And I'm going to be talking about some policies that you may not even think about. So, we're going to be going over that today. But before we do that, guys, I am officially 17 weeks pregnant, which is wild. I say that because, like, wow, I'm almost like halfway done with this pregnancy, right? But guys, I still have morning sickness. Like, what is this? It's like all day sickness, really. And it's like nighttime sickness. I have to take Zofran literally all day long. It's ridiculous, but we're doing it. I definitely think that this pregnancy has taught me 100% of what matters and what doesn't matter because I definitely feel like if it wasn't for that, I think I would still just be doing random things. Like, all those little extra things you can do here and there. Yeah, no, I only have time or the capacity to do the things that are most important, like help my students, which welcome to all the new students recently. It has been so crazy and so beautiful, and I'm so blessed. Which, speaking of that, if you're listening to this when this goes live, I just updated the Facebook section. So it's broken down into shorter videos in the marketing part of your course. Cause I have like a bundle, you guys know. Anyways, a whole bundle of like tons of different courses. But this one in particular, the marketing one, which typically is what people will go for. The Facebook section, I updated it significantly. So you guys will see that it has just like so much more information, but also just more detail. So hopefully I answer a lot of the questions you guys ask me on a regular basis so that make sure that it's all kept up to date. But anyways, I'm also adding in this how to audit your website. I had someone reach out to me and ask me about it. And I was like, honestly, that's a great thing to have because I think we forget that we also need to like check in on our stuff sometimes to see if it's even like worth it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, sometimes we almost have to unintentionally give ourselves reality checks and to see if things are working well enough or not. And so I am adding that audit for your website lesson. So stay tuned with that. I'm going to be slowly updating that and adding new things as I create it. So you guys will be able to see that. But, anyways, I hope you guys are ready to be hopping into this podcast about policies that protect your business. And of course, that will help you get fully booked with people you actually want to be fully booked with. That's what we have to remember is that, yes, you may have a client that no shows all the time, but when she does come in, it's great. But I think of how many times has somebody probably came into your business and they book an appointment and then they no show you on like a really good day on like a Saturday slot and text you 20 minutes before or no showed you completely and they didn't apologize for anything and you just sat there like mad realizing that you've not only lost this money, you've lost this time that you could have booked somebody else, but that you could have, like been with your family or done something you enjoyed, but instead you were there waiting for them. A lot of times because we either don't have a cancellation policy or if we do, we don't hold them to the policy, that we don't hold our clients to the policy. And that is where we're going to break some of that stuff down today because we're going to be talking about like exact policies that I had as a solo esthetician, but also policies I have now as an esthetician business coach. Because if I didn't have policies and boundaries now, as somebody who coaches, I feel like it would be absolutely wild because I truly don't believe that clients like book with malice. Like, I don't believe that they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to no show. I'm going to book this, but I'm going to no show. I don't think that's what it is. I truly think that things happen, but there are definitely some people, some businesses in our lives that we know, like, if this doesn't work out, it's whatever. They're going to be okay with it. And I just never wanted to be that business. I remember the first few times I was no-showed and I didn't have a policy, I didn't have boundaries, and I was just stuck and I was mad. So, policies really are there to protect your time so you don't get stuck with those really annoying unpaid gaps. It protects your income because those fees for cancellations or no-shows are going to protect you, but also it's going to protect you from people that are inevitably going to no-show you because you're gonna be serious about it. It's also gonna protect your energy. So there's no more bending over backwards for people in the sense of they no-showed you, they wanna book, 2 hours later than for them to no-show you again. Because if you've been in these places, clients will either look at you like you're professional or look at you like they're something they can walk over. And that's not cool. We want people that are there to book with us, to stay loyal with us, and to treat us like the real business that you are running. I actually want to tell you a story real quick about this client who last minute canceled their appointment. I'm talking like 10 minutes. And she told me it was because her son had like an emergency and she had to go to the emergency room with him. And this is when I had really just kind of put my policies into place. And she was a brand new client and she was just like, "Can I reschedule?" Blah, blah, blah. And this was like on a Saturday. I said, "Yeah, absolutely. You can totally reschedule. I hope everything is okay. However, I am going to charge you, the fee I had. I will absolutely use it for a credit for your next service. You just have to use it within the next 2 months." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much," right? So she did book in the next 2 months. But in the meantime, I don't think she realized that I was friends with her on Facebook. And I went on her Facebook because typically people will post like crazy things. She was one of those people that would post something about her kid. And instead, she posted a picture of her son on the couch watching TV, not even joking. And she was talking about how she was so grateful to have gotten a babysitter because she was ready to go out with her girls that night. And then she was ready to party. And I was just like, man, I had so much love and so much grace for her. At first was like, man, should I even do it? Like I get it, emergencies happen. And I decided to do it anyways. I was like, I'm going to do this anyways. I'm going to hold to my policy and that be it. And I'm so grateful I did because, like, what the heck, right? Like, not cool. And now she did come back in for the appointment and she held that appointment because I told her if she no showed or had a last minute cancellation, that I was not going to allow her to use it. Like, that credit was going to be gone, it was going to expire. But when she came in, she just like went to go book again and was just super weird about it. Like, didn't want to keep the card on file, didn't want to do anything like that. And I told her that I was booked and then I would reach out to her when I had more availability for her on those days. And I did that because that was my kindest way of saying, "You're not booking with me," because I was protecting my energy and I had policies put into place for that. So, with that said, always is that stuff gonna happen, and sometimes emergencies are real emergencies. Like, I had a client that I saw for years who her tire, like, blew up, and I was like, "I will leave." Well, granted, I was, like, 40 weeks pregnant. So, "I'll leave and come change your tire." And she was like, "Oh, so you're not gonna change my tire? You're pregnant. Like, you're very, very pregnant." And I was like, "I will come and help you, though. Like, I'll walk you through how to do it." And she was like, "No. It's fine." She's like, "I'm really sorry I missed my point. I get it. You have to charge me, whatever." And I said, "I'm not charging you because I realize this is a real emergency. You can just reschedule. It's okay. I'm glad you're okay." And I think you kind of have to play stuff like that by ear. But let's talk about some policies that I would recommend you have as a solo esthetician. But I also do want to remind you that policies are a boundary. Policies are something that every single business has, right? Every single business has. If you no show somebody, or say you order your food at McDonald's and you prepay and then you don't go get the food, McDonald's is not going to refund you. Okay. I mean, it may be like a really weird circumstance. I don't even know how you get a hold of McDonald's, but like they're most likely not going to refund you. So think about it in the same sense. You are a business that is serious. You have to treat that as so. So your first one's going to be your basic one. This is your cancellation no-show policy. So I would recommend you require some type of hours notice, okay? So whether it's 24 hours to 48 hours notice or a fee applies. Now, depending on your state, depends how much you can charge. So if say you don't take up a deposit ahead of time, we'll talk about that in a second. If you don't take a deposit ahead of time, you can charge a fee for services not rendered, but were had no shows because they broke the policy, right? And some states allow you to do 100%. Some states only allow you to do like up to 75%. So you just need to look at what your particular state law is and go based off of that. Typically, I would say a percentage of whatever the cost of that service is. Or if you have a membership, maybe it's loss of that membership credit. If it was part of a package, it's loss of that package, that part of that package. Whatever it is, just making sure that you have a policy put into place that you are writing and letting them know, like, this is the cancellation policy. Now, you can collect a card on file prior to them actually booking the appointment and using that card to collect the funds. Now, I actually learned this while I was in the treatment room because I just blown away this even existed. When I had a client who I saw all the time, was actually my really good friends. She actually was like a churchgoer with me. And she told me she had a card that was an active card, but it never had any money on it. Like it had less than like $5 on it. And that's what she used to book appointments so that if she were to no show or have to cancel, she wouldn't be charged. And that was like her hack. And I was like, what in the world? And then I found out so many people were doing this. And I was like, no way. Like, that's just so bad. Like, that's so mean. And I just never was like, just don't book the appointment if you're not going to show up. Right. Like, no. And so I don't know. Ever since then, I was like super put off because I just was not about that life. It's just horrible, right? What? And so ever since then, I started talking to people about deposits. Now, you could always do a deposit policy, which basically meant a certain percentage of your service that they are booking or the full amount for, especially for first time clients, they book it with a kind of like a down payment. So say their service is like a Brazilian wax, right? Maybe they pay $25 in a deposit prior to like hold their place, but if they miss that appointment, they lose that deposit. And you put these policies in everywhere to allow them to like know what your rules are, right? So that also would include a late arrival policy. Like, what is your policy on late arrivals? And I see this so often. Like, how long do I stay? I actually saw a post in my estheticians and business page the other day where it was, what do I do? I show, I waited 20 minutes and then my client never showed up. So I left. She showed up at like 35 minutes past her appointment. How long should I have stayed? And in my head, I'm like, this is where you need a policy. And so she was just like, I have a policy for 15 minutes. After that appointment, I waited till 20 and she never called, text, nothing. And so I feel like in this sense, if you can't perform the appointment with enough time to do it well enough, cancel or reschedule that client. And if they don't respond or they're not in communication with you, like I would just cancel it on their appointment stuff and just move on to your next client or leave, depending on what your schedule looks like. Yeah. But you have to have a policy written out for that, which needs to be let them know of what it is prior to booking the appointment. Okay. So the other thing to think about would be refunds. Do you offer refunds on services? Do you offer refunds on products? These are really important things for you to think about because some people are going to be like, oh, I didn't like how my lashes look. I want a full refund after you just spent 2 hours on those lashes and they loved it while they were there. You have to figure out what that looks like. Something that I always did was if somebody had an issue with something I performed, I offered them to have a free 30-minute facial to come back in and we worked through whatever situation it was. If the product didn't work for their skin and they truly gave it an effort, like 30 days of trying it, then I would refund it and I would just send it back to the company. And a lot of people would do like, oh, you have 30 days to refund of like an unused product, but I wanted my clients to be happy, 100% guarantee for me. I just didn't talk about it all the time. It wasn't like if you don't like it, send it back, right? I didn't do that. I didn't have somebody to tell. I didn't tell them. I just didn't want clients to be like, "Oh, I don't want to have this anymore. I'm not using this anymore." Like I wanted them to use it, try it, and really give it a go. But that's also the kind of clients I attracted. Now, another policy I want you to think about also is a policy for children or for people in the room with them. Is there a policy for that? I did not have a policy for this at all. And I actually had it was probably like an 8, 9-year-old daughter come in to the treatment room with her mom, which I didn't know about prior. She never told me this, her daughter was just with her. And so I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, there was a waiting area that was a safe waiting area. So I was like, "You want her to wait?" She said, "No, I want her to be in the room with me." I said, "Okay, that's fine." Well, the whole time, I'm not even joking when I tell you this little girl played like screamo music on her phone on like loud. Okay. Then she was chewing gum the whole time. And I can't even make this up. She like sneezed and wiped the booger on my wall. And then somehow that gum got into the rug that was under the treatment table. I can't even tell you how annoyed I was. I had to throw away the rug. I had to clean boogers off the wall. And ever since then, I created that policy. There are no children allowed in the room. Now, there were some times where I allowed like moms that had newborns, and that if they were able to just like hold their baby would sleep or whatever, and they were certain about it, I was fine with that. I had this one where her son just literally slept on her chest the entire time she got the facial. And I was totally cool with that. I had no issues, but it was just crazy to me. I was like, are you kidding me? And this woman just allowed her daughter to do this stuff, and it was wild to me, like, this is a business. And so ever since then, I created that policy. And so why I'm telling you this is because if there's something that bothers you, if there's something you don't like, or if you have something that's going on, so like cleanliness, if you're doing Brazilians all the time and your clients come in and they smell stanky, you need to create a policy around cleanliness. Like, please don't come right after the gym to get a Brazilian. That's gross. Probably make it a little bit more professional that. But it is just something where if you don't like something, make it a policy. If something irks you on a constant basis, make it a policy. Or if something keeps happening, change it up. If you keep getting the same no shows from these people, then make it a policy that after the first no show, second no show, whatever floats your boat, you're blocked from booking. Those are the kind of things that you need to make sure that you are putting into place, because policies are there to put a boundary around your business, around your soul, and to transfer your business from feeling like super chaotic to feeling protected, but also respected. Because when people know they can't no show you, they're going to stop no showing you. Like when people feel like you're exclusive and realize, like, oh, like I'm going to be charged if I don't show up to this appointment, they're not going to just last minute be like, oh my gosh, actually going to get brunch with my girls instead of coming to get their body contouring done. These are all very important things that you need to have be put into your business right off the bat. And I have this system when it comes to policies. I love to do grace with respect, meaning my policies were always built around grace and respect of my business. And that meant that if you no showed me, you canceled on me, whatever, but you were communicating with me, I would give you grace every single time, but to a certain extent. So if it was the very first time that you no showed me, or the very first time you last minute canceled, and still, even if you last minute rescheduled, it was within my policy time frame, I would then tell them, like, that's fine. I'm going to still utilize this credit, deposit, whatever, for you to be able to use at your next appointment. So it was grace. I totally understand, but I'm still going to charge you. But you can use it. Second time they did it, I would charge them. They could not use it. And then the third time, they were banned from booking. No one ever got to the third time. And because realistically, I just didn't really try to keep booking them when they wanted, even if they wanted me to, I would just say I'd follow up and not always follow up. Because in reality, guys, do we really want to fill spots with people that kind of just suck? No. Sometimes people aren't ready to have appointments. Sometimes people aren't ready to have luxurious appointments. Like, if you can't afford appointments, that's fine, but don't schedule an appointment and then cancel it right beforehand because you decided to go to Disney World and use up all your money. No, that's just not how this works. Okay? That's just not how that works. And so at that point, deposits, that's what really comes in handy. But just remember that your business is a business. You're not just this little, oh, I'm in a suite kind of thing. I'm in my garage or whatever. You're a full flipping business. So I think it's important for you to treat yourself and your business like it's a business, because hobbies cost money, businesses pay you money. You start treating your business like a business right now, and it's going to pay you like a business. Okay. So just remember that. Maybe now. But I also want you guys to remember, like, here's the truth of all of this. Policies are just one part of the puzzle. They're just one piece of your business that protect your time, your income. But it is so important for you also to have systems really throughout your entire business. And when I say systems, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of hearing the word systems. But systems can literally be, guys, I'm not even joking. Systems can literally just be a schedule that you have things on. It can be a system that every single January 1st, you go through and you mark out your calendar for the year in advance of what you think things are going to look like. A system is also a way that it can help you bring in new clients consistently and can keep them coming back. Meaning that maybe you have an email sequence set up automatically to get people to give you referrals or to follow up with referrals. That's honestly one of the only ways you'll actually be building up to $10,000 months without burning out. I can tell you right now, you can build $1,000 a month and $10,000 a month businesses without feeling crazy. Because at first, especially as a brand new esthetician, you may feel all over the place. But as a seasoned esthetician, you don't want to feel all over the place. You want to know what works and what doesn't work. And so if you haven't already, I would 100% recommend watching my free webinar. It is literally all about how to be booked. It's a full framework that I talk about in my Estheticians in Business bundle that literally will walk you through how to be booked without losing your mind, is what the best part of it is. And by the way, which I don't know if you guys have even been on this page, I'll link it, which I'll link the webinar, of course. But I also will link this other page that if you are just ready and you're like, I need this bundle, y'all, I am still allowing to have free one-on-one coaching sessions. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to really be quite overwhelmed with the amount of coaching sessions that are coming in. But this just means that we get to sit down together. We're gonna map out your policies, we can map out your pricing, we can map out your marketing. So you're no longer guessing. You have a full plan that works for your exact spa situation, your exact business situation, and it comes with the fully booked framework. The webinar will walk you through the whole thing. But basically, if you're listening to this and thinking like I need this structure in my business, I'm going to really just ask you to click on the free webinar. But in reality, outside of that is I want you to think about this today for your homework. I'm giving you homework, guys. I'm teacher Allison. Just call me Miss Allison. I'm just kidding. I want you to write down your cancellation policy. I want you to, if you don't have one, I want you to create one, create a late policy, a refund policy. If there's kids allowed policy, cleanliness policies. If you don't even have those in play, just write it down. Put it in a chat GBT and just be like, this is what I do. Please just put it out here for me and figure out things that you like and don't like, and then start putting those things into action. Now, if you're changing your policies, you want to make sure that you're allowing your clients some time and telling them. When I changed my policy, I actually made little postcards and gave it to every client that came in, sent out emails, and I just wanted everybody to know, like, hey, it's changing, so I need you to be prepared of what that looked like. And it literally changed from 48 hours to 72 hours because I was so booked. I needed to make sure I could allow my wait list time to actually choose to have the appointment or not. And I changed it from 48 hours to 72 hours of being able to cancel. A lot of people were mad because I was like, well, I'm super sorry. Now, I remember there was this one client who literally was just like, Allison, sometimes I don't know until 48 hours ahead of time. With her, I was like, okay, I was chill with it. I was like, you just let me know. You can shoot me a text if you can't. I'm assuming you can unless you message me. And so she would always message me and let me know, and then I would follow up my wait list after that. That's what I'm talking about is like having grace, truly like taking care of what you need to take care of and putting a boundary around the parts of your business that maybe can feel chaotic or just nuts to you. Okay. So, anyways, go ahead and check out the show notes for all this. And if this was helpful, please leave a comment, maybe share this, star it, whatever happens on podcasts. Let me know if there's anything I can ever help with, guys. So, love you. Bye.